A Nintendo Direct has been scheduled for September 12th, 2025, after a relatively long hiatus of general directs. The last one that we had was at the start of April, and since then we have had a lot of individual directs, and we've had Nintendo Today drops and partner showcases, but this is the first proper Nintendo Direct since then, and this is, I guess, the first one of the Switch 2 era, and so it's just really exciting. I mean, I'm really excited about it. There's a lot of things they need to cover. You know, like obviously they need to give Metroid Prime 4 a release date. They need to, they probably give more details on Kirby Air Riders. There's Hyrule Warriors that needs a release date, even if I don't really care that much about it. There's a lot of things. Splatoon Raiders. There's like third-party stuff like Elden Ring and Final Fantasy VII have still yet to get a release date, and there's a bunch of third-party ports that are like inevitable or should happen, and there's even more like first-party stuff that, while it doesn't like need to happen, there's always space for more first-party reveals. But on top of all that, it is also the 40th anniversary of Super Mario on 2 days. On Saturday, it is actually the 40th anniversary of Mario, and so the fact that this is on a Friday, which is very irregular, it really clues you into the fact that this is clearly not only a direct to clear up the uncertainties of their lineup, but also celebrate the 40th anniversary of Mario. And so I thought today I'd make a predictions video that isn't a discussion, but instead is a collection of some predictions that I have. But I didn't want to talk about, I mean, I will talk about some things that are predictable, but I wanted to be different. I wanted to go over certain things that maybe aren't on everyone's mind. I mean, there's one thing that is on everyone's mind, but the rest of them, I've tried to think about interesting and different things that people don't usually talk about, because I have a gut feeling about them. And really, I think the world's your oyster when it comes to predicting this direct. I mean, there's so much things that could be in it, and it's going to be a big deal, as it is an hour long, and that is longer than any general direct that isn't about a console reveal. So I'm going to go into 5 predictions that I have, and then I'll go into a little section of like third party stuff that I could see happening that is separate. So about 5 first to second party, and then a couple third party. But before I get into this, I need to let you know that I do have a cold. You can probably hear it. It's very annoying, but I hope it doesn't annoy you. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this video, and we'll start with my first prediction. My first prediction, and this one will be, maybe not surprising. I think it's the most obvious one. Obviously, as I said before, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond was re-revealed last June in 2024, and it was dated for 2025, and since then we still have no update whatsoever about when that is. Like, when in 2025, we don't know, and we are almost at the end of 2025 and we still don't know. So a lot of people were worried, is this going to be delayed? Is it going to still make 2025? The answer to that is, I think it is still making 2025 pretty easily, but it's been a bit weird with how they've been handling the marketing of it. I mean, obviously this was announced all the way back in 2017 as a PNG, and obviously it was delayed due to a creative overhaul of the game. So it's been through quite a lot, and so far we've seen a decent amount, but it's all been in the first tutorial area. And the main things that have been shown have been very basic stuff. The most unique thing here is the psychic abilities, and the psychic abilities, they're not really that mind-blowing, that they don't really change the game that much. They can't really be the only thing. So beyond just a release date, which I'll get to a little bit in a second, but I do think that we're going to get I think that this might open the actual direct, and we're going to get a full story trailer in the vein of the Breath of the Wild one, that will be edited in a way to get people amped for Metroid Prime 4, because I think that's the one thing that hasn't really happened yet. We haven't really got a hype trailer, quote unquote, but I think there will be a certain stinger in terms of the gameplay, and I think that it will be the addition of the speed booster. which is obviously in the 2D Metroid games. You build up certain momentum and you can go super duper fast, and you can pull off a technique called the Shine Spark, where you can go flying into the air in the direction that you aim. And I think this would be a really big addition to the series, and it would complement big, more open, spacious areas, and that kind of comes in with the whole desert motif, which is in the key art, which we haven't seen. So I think maybe we could see Speed Booster and Shine Spark be introduced into the Metroid Prime series. Beyond that, I think I don't know if it's going to happen because we haven't seen it, but I think like a melee attack of some sort, a little bit like the counter in Metroid Dread and Samus Returns, would be a really good way of making the combat feel a little bit less slow. I mean, I guess that's kind of the point of Metroid Prime, but I do think a close combat, like melee counter attack, would actually fit quite well and make Metroid Prime feel different, Metroid Prime 4 feel unique. And then, another thing is kind of like the time travel aspect. I think the device that's in the logo, I think there is definitely like some time travel stuff going on with it, and I think that might impact the core gameplay. So I think there's a lot you could talk about, and I think they might even save some of this for a Metroid Prime 4 Direct that will like air like next week or the week after. I think this game will release either on October 30th or November 6th. That's my prediction. So this is a pretty safe, easy prediction to make, but it's an important one. I wanted to talk about it. The other ones, the safe ones, are like, I can go with or without them, but I need to talk about Metroid Prime 4. I'm very excited about this game, and we need to see the release date. So I can also see early December as well, but I'm going to stick to the October 30th or November 6th, which seems soon, but I think you can pull it off. I think you definitely can. My second prediction today is going to be to do with Pokemon. Now, I do think we're going to see Pokemon Legends ZA. To what extent, I don't know. Maybe a new Mega again. We just did get Mega Malamar, so I don't know if they're going to do them 2 in a row. But they've done them weekly, and Malamar took about 2 weeks of a campaign, so theoretically they could double up. And if they did, I think maybe we'd even get 3 new Megas, because I think we'd probably get something like the Kalos starters. I think it would make sense. But let's just say that we just see Legends EA in passing and they don't reveal anything. I think we're going to see the announcement of a new Pokemon spin-off. Now this is kind of stolen from a actual leak from Riddler Koo, who is pretty good when it comes to leaking Pokemon specifically. So it's a little bit of a cop-out, but I'm going to be specific. So I think that the spin-off will be an exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2. I think the reason that it will be is because it will be a new Pokemon Ranger game, which we haven't seen since the DS, because it uses the touchpad. So it depends on the touchpad. I mean, we could have seen one on the Wii U, to be fair, but the mouse mode is a big part of the Switch 2. And I think it could really be a good way of bringing back Pokemon Ranger in the modern day, but with mouse controls. So my second prediction, is that we're going to see the reveal of Pokemon Ranger for Nintendo Switch 2 using the fancy mouse mode. I think that is a pretty likely announcement in the middle of this Direct. Number 3 is going to be my Mario prediction. Now, there's so much I could talk about when it comes to Mario. I mean, I think there's going to be an entire section just dedicated to the Italian plumber. We could get a 3D Mario tease for next year. We could get Mario Galaxy 2. We could get a 3D All-Stars Nintendo Switch 2 edition with Galaxy 2. We could get a Wonder Switch 2 edition. So all this stuff I think a lot of people talked about, and even the Mario movie 2 I think probably will get a trailer based on what I've been hearing externally outside of even just Nintendo discussion. Anyway, I want to be different. I'm gonna try to be different. So I'm not gonna try and just predict one of those things. What I'm gonna predict is I think that we will see a new Yoshi game. Now that might be a little bit of a cop out, because you could say that Woolly World will be here, because I think Woolly World has a chance of being here, and if it is, I don't think they announce Woolly World ported at the same time as the Yoshi game. If anything, the Yoshi Woolly World will be here, and then that would kind of almost set up kind of a new Yoshi game next year. That's a possibility. I guess my prediction is that Yoshi will be here. I think Yoshi will be a presence because he's going to be a big part of the movie. We know that for a fact. I think he will be very marketable. And I think Goodfield have been working on a new Yoshi game, and I think it would be a great time to announce it. I think this is most of my personal take. I think that it will be a 3D Yoshi, and I think it will be level based, a little bit like 3D World or like Astrobot or like Kirby in the Forgotten Land. So it won't be like a Bonanza game, and it is just by Goodfield. But they recently did Bakaru, which is a 3D action platformer. So I think they could do it, and they could like, you know, keep it in the vein of Yoshi's Island, maybe going back to that kind of storybook aesthetic. So I think that a Yoshi game is pretty likely now. I think especially with the movie, and I think this would be a good place to show it, especially with very likely us seeing a teaser trailer or at least a casting announcement for the Mario movie 2. So that is my third prediction. My fourth prediction is the revival of a dormant Nintendo series for Nintendo Switch 1. And in specific, I'm thinking Golden Sun. Now, Golden Sun is not, I don't think it's a huge deal, so it is maybe a little bit of a stretch to think that maybe it'd come back, but Golden Sun is by Camelot, and they haven't made a game since Mario Golf in 2021. They've been obviously busy on something, and maybe even several things, I don't know, but I think maybe they might see the backwards compatibility with Mario Tennis and Mario Golf and Mario Strikers and all this, and realise maybe this gives them the opportunity to work on something else to start the Switch 2 well, not really the Switch 2 generation, because I think this will be a Switch 1 game, but I think that they are going to remake either just the first Golden Sun or both the first and the second Golden Sun. Maybe that's a little bit ambitious, but I'm thinking like Advance Wars, where it's like a series, or even like Famicom Detective Club. It's like a series that isn't a proven thing, so you're gonna go above and beyond and give a package deal. So remake the first two games. They're not gonna be like in like a massive, huge remake. It's just kind of like a reskin of the actual game, but with modern like graphics. So I don't know why I think this. I think I mean, I'm a little bit influenced by the Nintendo Music drop this week, and the fact that it's been on Nintendo Switch Online as well. There's been a lot of spotlight to Golden Sun. I feel like it would be a pretty good highlight in amongst the direct. It just feels like maybe it is time for Golden Sun to return. So I'm going to make the bold claim that I think that Golden Sun is actually returning tomorrow in the Nintendo Direct for the Nintendo Switch 1, obviously with backwards compatibility and probably built-in differences between Switch 2. Again, don't have to do like an entire version, just like a free patch that just naturally comes with it, I think. So it fits in. I think you got Rhythm Heaven as well and Tomodachi Life. I think Golden Sun fits quite nicely into that late life Nintendo Switch 1 lineup. And my fifth prediction is kind of vague, but I'm going to lock in on one. I'm just going to talk over them, but I think there will be a new major Nintendo JRPG announced in this direct. I think that's probably going to be Fire Emblem, but I think that there's also a chance that it could be Monolith Soft's new IP, which I've been talking about in another video. I think that is going to happen next year, but maybe it will wait to be revealed next year. I think Fire Emblem might come first. And the reason I say that is because I think Fire Emblem has been kind of down for a bit, not down for a bit, but like it's not been a while since the last Fire Emblem game. And there's been rumours of a Fire Emblem 4 remake for so long, and they just never have materialised. So I think we could either see that materialise finally as a Switch 2 exclusive, or that never existed and they are just doing a brand new Fire Emblem game for the Switch 2 as well. So I think this will be a Switch 2 exclusive Fire Emblem game, probably new, but it makes sense to me because I think Fire Emblem tends to take the first half of the year, whereas Xenoblade and anything Monolith Soft tends to favour the second half now. Obviously, Xenoblade 3 did come out in July, and so did Fire Emblem Three Houses, but Fire Emblem Three Houses was planned for spring, and Xenoblade 3 was planned for September, so it is like not a set in stone thing, but I do think they like to have Fire Emblem in the first half. I mean, obviously Engage was in like January of 2023, so I think they like that early end of fiscal year kind of area. But I think in general it just makes sense to have a new Fire Emblem game. I think it would be, you need a JRPG of some kind, and I think Xenoblade X at the moment fills that one left soft spot at the moment. So I think maybe a Fire Emblem game, that's what I'm leaning towards. I think a new Fire Emblem game will be announced for the Nintendo Switch 2, and if it's a remake of 4, I think it will be announced that it's basically been moved to Switch 2, like Bonanza, like all these other, like Mario Kart World. These have just been moved, and that's why it's been rumoured for so long. So Fire Emblem, I think new for Nintendo Switch 2, I think will be here tomorrow. Those are my 5 predictions. Now I'm going to go into some third-party predictions. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to name 4 third-party games that I think will show up here that haven't been previously announced. So not like dated ones, but like new third-party releases for Nintendo Switch 2 that I think will be in this Nintendo Direct. We'll see how right I am. So I'm going to say Resident Evil 9 or Resident Evil Requiem. This is not official, but I think there's been a lot of rumours about it, a lot of rumblings about it recently, and I think it would make sense to show up here. So I think Resident Evil 9 or Resident Evil Requiem will be here, and it will be a pretty big reveal. Number 2 is going to be Hi-Fi Rush. Now I just actually finished this game. I'm surprised it's not already announced for the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, we just got Indiana Jones announced for the Nintendo Switch 2, so now Indiana Jones is on. They've obviously opened the barriers for Xbox games on Nintendo Switch, and obviously, you know, Hi-Fi Rush is already on the PS5, so Hi-Fi Rush would be a perfect fit for the Switch 2. I don't know why it's taken so long, so I think it will be here tomorrow. I'm kind of double dipping on a franchise here, but I do think Resident Evil 7 will also be here. That is also based in a rumour, but I think it's pretty obvious. I think Resident Evil 7 natively will come to the Nintendo Switch 2. And my last prediction for a third-party game here will be Baldur's Gate 3. I'm surprised that wasn't at the original Switch 2 event, because Baldur's Gate 3 just feels like it would be a perfect slam dunk for Nintendo Switch. With I guess because it's a game that is like turn-based, but it's a very PC kind of game, right? So you'd have the mouse mode working with it quite nicely. I think it would be a good showcase of that. So, but it's just a big game. Obviously, the game of the year for 2023. I think it would be a big get. So I think those are the 4 games I'm talking about: Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil 7, Hi-Fi Rush, and Baldur's Gate 3. Those will be 4 third-party announcements tomorrow. But those are my predictions. Obviously, there's so many things that I didn't talk about which are obvious, because I just wanted to be a little bit different. We'll look back on this video and think, wow, you made some cool predictions, you know? So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and just let me know 5 out there predictions that you have, or gut feelings that you have, maybe beyond what's obvious. So anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I hope my cold was not too annoying, because it's very annoying to me personally.